There he goes. He's here. He's on. Hi, Hillary. Yep, he's on. Hi, Hillary. Can you hear us?
Hi, Robert. Hi.
Bamulinde,
Yes, sir.
I want to put a question mark at the end of your name because that's what you have done for us.
Have I? It's
Hillary.
been a long day. Yes.
Man. This has been one hell of a session. I would turn away for a few minutes, try and get some work done, and I'd come back and the thing has exploded. So how have you been?
Good, thank you. Good. Not so bad.
Did you find it enjoyable? What was going on Twitter the whole day?
Yes, I did. I've been posting a lot on Twitter last 1 year since the lockdown, the last lockdown. But nothing like today. Today has been a marathon. Today has been a marathon.
I told you at the beginning that you're a cult figure on these streets, and I was shocked myself.
Well, I don't know. I try to keep it subtle. My Twitter day actually usually is like 7 a.m. to like 9ish, and then I disappear till evening.
What's so subtle about what you say? I have not found a man more straight in his talk than you.
Well, it's it comes off easy sometimes when you've lived some of these experiences.
Yeah, that's true. And you're speaking from the heart, and it's authentic, and you're living. You're talking the life that you've lived. Yeah. So, everybody says that your session is going to be so oversubscribed. Some people are even asking me for VIP tickets. So I don't know how they do. I don't know how they do VIP tickets.
It starts thinking entrance fees next time.
Man, I wish I could. Today, let me tell you, Hillary. Today, if I was charging money, I would be making a killing for sure. That's 100%. But this is what we do for public service, my man. So we've got to do it.
I
mean, and let me tell you how real this is, right?
Yes.
It normally takes us about maybe 10 to 15 minutes to get to 300 listeners. We haven't yet started, but we are at 300 listeners.
Interesting.
That's actually true. Yeah, quite impressive, huh?
Yeah,
sort of scary though for me.
No, it's an endorsement of who you are, Hillary, and what you represent and the things that you do. And
I try.
So actually now I think we can even get started because we do this banter just to check the sound system and make sure that it works. So just to let you know, I know you've listened in, but just to let you know, one, I do this with Otoa because we've got to be at least two people. If something goes wrong, then with at least on my side, and has happened twice before. Imagine I left my own space. So then that way, Otoa takes over and runs with it. But it's also good because I think that what we've started here might outlast my ability to do it. So someone else has got to train to do it and take it over from me. But so Hillary, again, just to say that I offered to do this, again, just for people who engage with me regularly so that we have something productive that we do during lockdown instead of just sharing memes and all sorts of things, so that this downtime can be useful to all of us when we spend time doing this. So I just wanted you to know that it's really just a public service, and you have really, really, even before we start, you have really, really acquitted yourself well so far today. So thank you, Hillary, one, for doing what you did with the tweets and for joining me today.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know all the things that you promised to say at this time, but for me, the one I want to start with immediately, which I want you to tell me now. Try and guess which one you think I'm going to ask you. Let's see which one you think I'm going to ask you. Let me save you the trouble. Now, I want you to tell me the story that's killing me now that the whole day is that story about the the business of sachet alcohol. Now, first tell me that.
That's the story of my life. But thank you, Robert. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for hosting me. I must say, when you sent me a message asking me if I could speak, I freaked out.
Why?
One thing, I'm not a speaker, and I've been listening in the last couple of days. When you've had people like Damali, you start thinking, oh my God, the Kapalewa Hillary, what am I going to say? I can't be that fluent. And it's last night I struggled to sleep, and my wife was saying, "Hey, do you need an exam?" But yes, I'll tell you about the alcohol story. I would like to start to give you a little bit of background about myself, because it does influence a lot of things that we're going to hear in the next couple of minutes.
Right.
Well, I was born in 1981, so I celebrate a big 4-0 later this year.
Hey, Hillary, 1981, I was in senior one.
Can imagine. But also there are people listening in who are like, wow, the guy is old.
Their parents were in this one at that time.
True.
Yes.
Anyway, so I was born in rural Bushenyi to a father who was a trader, mainly dealing in salt. I know most people, yes, especially the young ones, will not understand that salt was big business back in the day.
That's true.
The people who would get it from Katwe, and then they would take it to different districts and that kind of thing. And my mother did just a small petty business and more of taking care of us. Now, a few years, of course, my parents separated when I was still young. I think I was in about P2, P3, and I went through a cycle of you at mommy's this time, daddy takes you and takes you back to the village. And it wasn't something exciting. But the worst was yet to happen. A few years after their separation, I think I was in P5, my dad passed. So we go through the burials. I moved from Mitoma to Kampala because my mother had moved to Kampala then. And as sometimes you think you've hit rock bottom, and I like telling people that there is plenty of space under rock bottom.
Are you sure?
I think that's what I saw happening to me, because your father dies in P5, and in P6, my mother passes as well. So I'm left a total orphan in a very short space of time, with siblings who are much younger than me. I was the oldest among my siblings, and
in short space, you have to become the breadwinner.
Yes, very quickly. But a few things happen. Because my uncle who had taken us couldn't take care of us, couldn't pay the fees, so I ran away. And
you ran away.
This was the first.
You ran away
first signs of the rebel from his home. His home was in Isinjiro, so I woke up at 5 a.m., entered the bus, and we reach Mbara. And of course, they're starting to collect, and I don't have money, so they throw me out of the bus. And I spent a few good hours in the bus.
Where were you going anyway?
I was going to Kampala. Now, of course, I had been with my mom in Kampala, and I knew some of her friends. And my father said, no, I'm going to handle this village life. I'm going to find my mom's friends, and they might help. You know, when you're young, you think you're entitled. You think people should do things for you.
Absolutely.
This was my... You even overthink your parents' friends. You think they're tighter than whatever. So, a good Samaritan gives me some money, and I find my way in Kampala. So I get to Kampala, and the first person I go to is like, you know what, I can't take care of you in Kampala. I also have some problems, but what I can do, because everyone was feeling sorry for me. This guy is an orphan. Where is he going to go? We don't even know his relatives. So the guy takes me to Masaka to live with a sister. Now, I start a cycle of living with guardians who are not even related to you.
Meanwhile, where are the other members now? The other siblings?
Now, the other members have stayed in Isinjiro with my uncle. And I think it's difficult for some, especially the younger people.
And you are how old at this point now?
Well, this is about 10 years old. Yeah, about 9, 10. That's how much I've been training myself to take risks and do things. So I got to Masaka, get enrolled in the school, and as luck would have it, Compassion International comes along. A number of you may have heard of this organization. And they come enrolling people, especially those who were orphans. I think at the time, the AIDS scourge had also swept the whole of Rakai. So there are so many organizations powering in to help orphans. So I get the opportunity to get sponsored by Compassion International. They pay my fees right from primary school until I finished secondary school. So I moved from Masaka and got to Chivuli Secondary School for my O-level. Now I start facing real life lessons. I'm in Chivuli of those days. I don't know the Chivuli of now, but Chivuli of those days was actually an elite school. You had sons of ministers. Yes, you had sons of ministers. It was very bro. They never used to wear the gandulas I see nowadays. It was I'll say a Budo, or not Budo guys might want to kick me, but it was a good school. So I get in S1, and I remember the first day we introduced ourselves, and I tell people I come from Masaka Baptist Primary School, and the whole class burst into laughter. But no one had ever heard of that school. No one.
Nakasero Primary School.
Not Nakasero, not Budo Junior. Everyone burst into laughter. And I immediately get a name, John the Baptist. Trust me, it was a bit traumatizing. But at the end of the first term, I beat everyone. I was the first in class. And my fortunes start to change. And this gave me the first lesson in life. Leverage your advantages. Learn to take advantage of your advantage. Here you are, I'm an orphan, you've come into this school, has many rich kids. Of course, everyone looks at you, you're a villager. And the first thing I did was beat all of them hands down. And then the script changed. I started getting some respect.
You turned the tables.
I started turning tables. Now people want to associate with you. The John the Baptist story just quickly disappeared. Somehow even the girls warm up to you because you're the guy. Because otherwise tomorrow, if you want discussion, who are you going to discuss with? So that was the story of the first few years. The first few years of my life.
So the girls start to look at you with a different eye now. You gain confidence.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I know from the background you've just had, it was very easy for me to feel sorry for myself. And you think people should pity me, or because I'm an orphan and that kind of thing. Actually, as a matter of fact, my best friend through secondary school found out I was an orphan in senior 6. Because I purposed not to live like one. And it was very
not to be known
as one. And not to be known, because people find your weaknesses and they want to use it against you. They want to
they stigmatize
you. Yes, you're the guy who is sponsored by an organization and that kind of thing. And Chivuli was the school where you could easily be picked upon as the poor kid, because I don't know why, but Chivuli had visitations every Sunday.
And for you were there watching members.
My friend, they even forgot to pick me at the end of first term. stayed an extra night. So it wasn't easy. So I go through O-level, I go to Namilyango College. I fit in that school quite easily because I was very social, and Namilyango was not as competitive as Chivoli. It was more homely, brotherhood, that kind of thing. So I finished in A-level, qualified for government sponsorship. I go to university. And
which university?
Makerere University. The real life starts to you're sleeping in a hall.
As we used to say those days, what were you offering at Makerere?
Yes. Now I was doing social sciences. I had applied for journalism. Probably I could have ended up working with Europe. Can you imagine?
Thank God.
I'd put mass communication as my first choice. I had ABBB, D2, and I missed mass comm by 0.5, which I felt so bad. And I don't
let's
even
just say you.
I wanted.
Let's just say you survived. But let's go.
Probably survived. And I don't understand why I wanted to do mass comm. But I'm not a good speaker or good writer. But now here you sold. Yes. So I end up doing social sciences, which basically because one, I sort of initially I despised the course. It gave me time to do things. I was running classes. Sometimes I just turned up for exams. Yeah, I was doing what most 20-year-olds do. You're a bit of a rebel, but of course, you're a rebel, but you live in a little. You are you have nowhere to go, boss. Yeah. So my first stints of being grown up and taking decisions, which I'd already taken. I know my first choice in P7, I picked it. No one told me. In S4, my first choice going to Namilyango was my own choice. No one helped me or told me. When you live with guardians, they are dealing with their own children, and it's the same thing.
So Hillary, let me rush you a little bit. So now after Makerere, so during Makerere, were you hustling or you were just enjoying life generally?
So during Makerere, the first vacation, those days vacation used to be 3 months.
3 months,
I got UK and Bank Cheyo. I worked as a binman for Croydon.
Now the other first wait you Bamulinde. First of all, the one of Isindro, you have explained how you left on the bus and you managed somehow to get money to come to Kampala. But now, how did you go to London, Newman? How did you leave this Uganda?
Now, my best friend through secondary school already had cousins and a brother living in London. So it gives me the idea, like, Hillary, end of vacation, we have 3 months, which you can stretch to 4 months, because the first month of after retirement
of campus is
never used to be
it was just dancing.
It was just a Mitchell Bazaar and that kind of thing.
Dancing generally.
Let's try and get visas. We go and Bank Cheyo for a good 4.5 months and come back. Now, there's a big difference between the visa applications now and the visa applications then. At the time, it was very easy for me to go, say, to NASA, get a bank statement, get a letter, and even get coached. Actually, there were guys at NASA who would coach you how to answer interview questions. Then you go, say, now I want to go on tour. My parents are sponsoring me. I'm a fan of Arsenal. I want to go to Highbury. And those are the stories. And visa lines would start at midnight. Visa lines would start at midnight from, what is it?
Yes.
The Javas.
Parliament from Cafe Pap.
Yes, most people wouldn't know those experiences now. But I would say it was probably down to luck, a bit of confidence, but more towards luck. That you're a university student, you're a bit confident, and there are so many of us. There's so many of us at the time that would actually go to London and other places in UK, Bank Cheyo, and come back. I would say the ones who were sharp, the ones who were sharp at the time. Yeah, so this was my first opportunity that opened my eyes. You know, you go to London and you see all these things happening, and you think of Kampala, you're like, we are really a banana republic. And you start seeing so many things that you can do. So I come back, I've made, of course, a bit of money, and like any young man, you just in your first few dollars. I think I came back with about $1,500, which was quite a lot of money then. It was
that was a lot of money. That's true.
And guess what? I had a group of about 30 friends. We parted every day, I think for 30 days.
On the 1,000?
On the 1,500. The money was finished. Okay, nearly finished. Of course, I saved some money, and now I started the side hustles. At the time, I think by in my second year, I owned about 5 or 6 phone booths. Right now, most people don't understand a phone booth. Hey, no, where you'd go and pay and make a call there and go away.
Where did you have these phone booths?
Those phone booths were around Makerere. All these hostels had a phone booth in front of a hostel.
So you were operating
the call. Yes.
Okay,
so I
so
got
that's
people.
where
Yes, sir.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so I got people, you'd give them a phone booth and they'll give you 1,000 shillings every day. So they are in charge of buying their own airtime. But you see that gadget, one, it also needed you would call it, not connection, but you need to be a bit enlightened. Know where do you go, apply, get this phone booth, and then put an operator. And they would pay me 1,000 shillings each a day. But 5,000 shillings was also quite a bit of money.
Per day, for 30 days, that is 150,000, right?
Yes, and yes. And those days,
even now, now that's a lot of money.
Yes, and those days we had that what we call chukumi. Imagine you get a full plate of food for about 300 shillings. So now you can understand how far 1,000 will take you. So I started doing a bit of that, and I would also do a bit of part-time research work here and there. I'd registered with I don't remember the agency, but they would call me when they have research work. So
was it Research International or Stedman? One of the two, maybe.
It was a small farm in Wandegea, and it would use students. But of course, I would do a good job. Yeah, every time they had a gig, they would call me up. So I finished university. I finished Makerere. And because now I was used to the UK thing, because I'd gone even in second year for Cheyo. So immediately after university, I got to UK. But this time I had a proper student visa, because you've gone and come back. I got a 3-year student visa. It was now much easier to get because of the history. So I got to UK. I worked for 1 year. Come back, and of course, still a young man. I don't want to make it appear like I've always had my head screwed on. I work 1 year, I come back, and we party. Now, most of my friends finished uni. Yes, I finished uni. They don't have jobs yet. Then I go back and say, no.
And you are the mullah.
Yes, of course. That's some kamane. The kamane was good. At that time, you come back, you have £5,000. But of course, now I had a little clever. So I would come back and say, someone tells me, no, we can invest in printery at NASA. And you say, okay, how much? We say the machine is 7 million or 8 million. And you put in some money, and then they start giving me some money monthly. Then now I start my sort of business journey. I'm working with friends. I bring in funds. I would send funds from UK. Nowadays, the younger ones will look at eBay and say, "Oh, all this Amazon, these things are easy." Those days, people would be here in Kampala and don't know where to get it in basics.
That's true.
So
that's true.
People will call you. No, I want to start a photo studio. Can you buy me this kind of camera? And then, of course, now we had that exposure. You'd buy the things on eBay or anywhere and send them down, make a small profit. But I was starting to see, UK, but some company is coming in. Now I got a bar job
I used to be a waiter in Circle Club in Manchester. This was a high-end bar.
Okay.
You had to be a member or a guest of a member. So it introduced me to people and mannerisms and how to behave around rich people, because you never know who the person is you're talking to. So it started giving me that attitude, respect.
No kamanyiro.
No kamanyiro, not these Ugandan things. You work and you want to have a conversation
with the patron.
With the patron, just like the foie. So I do my masters. I paid for my masters. I remember it was £9,800. It was very painful at the time.
So you're doing this masters while doing the job at the bar?
Yes, and while working in the Barclays call center. So the Barclays call center was like my official job. Could only work 6 hours because of the student visa, but the bar job was open. So I would go to Barclays in the morning, go to uni in the afternoon. So I dodged all. I never attended any morning lessons. Go to uni in the afternoon, catch up in the night on the schoolwork that I would have missed during the day. Then the club was busier between Wednesday and Sunday. So Wednesday maybe you work up to midnight. Thursday you work up to 3. Friday you work up to 6, and Saturday you work up to 6. So I had a period where
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Yes. I had a period where for 2 years I worked like a robot. I would tell you what I'll be doing next week on Thursday at exactly this time, because it was exactly the same thing.
So you would move from call center to the bar to school, call center
from the call center to university, do the afternoon lecture, come back home, take a one hour nap, go to the club, work up to 4 or 5 a.m., go back home. Now, I know if I enter bed, I'll not sleep. I will not wake up. So what I do, I shower and sit in my car. Put my 2 phones on alarm, 5 minutes apart, and doze off. When the alarms go off, I start the car and drive to work. Come back in the afternoon, take a 4-hour nap, go back for another 12-hour shift. This was, I think, the beginning of molding the Hillary that most people see and don't know very well. We really worked hard. I raised the £9,800 on my own from the Barclays salary and the club side. The club was good, probably one of the best jobs I've ever done. The tips were fantastic, because on the tips I could afford to top up on my fees. I could send some money back here. I started doing some little bit of investment here, depositing on a piece of land. You send £100, £200, you'd get a piece of land for 2 million. And you send £100, I think then was like 100,000. But that would solve the person's problem. So you keep depositing slowly and that kind of thing. And I'd also joined a circle. Just after campus, we had started a circle where I think we started with 50,000 shillings per month, that kind of thing. And by the time I finished uni, we had collected quite a bit of money. We went to DFC, got a loan, bought a piece of land in Chitezi, subdivided it, and that was the death of that circle. Everyone got a plot of land. I'd put quite a bit of money in the pot, so I ended up with three plots. So by the time I finished my master's and coming back down here, I had a few small things already bringing some money. Some money coming from printing. I was already doing a bit of trading, sending a few things down here, and I'd already secured a few small pieces of land. Now, while in this club, I met a gentleman called Andy, and I was so good to Andy. I used to take care of his guests, and he was amazed. He was amazed at my level of professionalism, at how enthusiastic I was at my job. So one day, Andy walks into the club, and it's not busy. They're like, Hillary, let's have a chat. Tell me, what do you do? Where do you come from? And I tell him, I'm from Uganda. I'm here. I'm studying. I'm doing a master's. And this guy is blown away. He's like, you work here and you have a master's. Eh? He's like, I'm impressed. Eh? And they was at the time was rich. He was a rich guy. I think at the time was net worth about £30 million. And he was blown away. Eh? So he tells me, Hillary, I'm going to find something. I'm going to find, because I told him, I want to go back home and see what I can do, where I can make a difference, get a job down there. So Andy hooks me up with my first professional job. He had a friend in Ghana who had a company building telecom towers. So Andy buys me my tickets to come to Uganda, say hello to my people, and the ticket back to Ghana. He bought me a laptop. I was also doing a bit of research for him down in Kampala. He was looking to invest a few things here. So I go to Ghana, do my 4 months stint in Ghana, and come back to Uganda. I think I came back with probably $17,000 as savings. They're paying me $5K a month in Ghana, and Andy had subsidized my accommodation and air ticket.
Wow!
All this is coming from someone who is a stranger that you met, but was impressed by your attitude. And I usually tell people, I've talked about it on Twitter, that your attitude, your attitude can take you places where your connections cannot take you.
That's true.
Your attitude can open doors. So this is a guy had basically seen as just a customer, and that's why I respect waiters and waitresses, because these people do a lot, and you never know who they're going to meet. People underlook these jobs, but life is funny, because you never know who is going to whose eye you're going
to catch. Yes.
Yes. So I'm quickly going to wrap up this background story.
It's fascinating, actually.
So I come back to Uganda. Of course, I'd sent before coming back, I'd sent my CVs so many organizations, including Barclays here. And well, they didn't even bother. I found out later. Someone told me, "Hey, you're coming from Barclays, UK. People think you bring Rugeze. Yeah, what?" So anyway, so I come back here. I think a few months. About 4 months down the road, I get a job offer from Umeme as a senior procurement officer. Remember, I'd done a master's in procurement and logistics. I'd been in Ghana. Done a stint as a procurement consultant. So that was basically my CV. And if I can add, those days, a master's in procurement was a reality in this town. I remember the time, I think we were about 15 people in this country that had a master's in procurement. It used to be a function of finance, and organizations were starting to break it away, make it a bit independent and that kind of thing. So I walk into Meme as a senior procurement officer, and I'll tell you, for the first 4 months, people were scared of talking to me. Everyone, including my workmates. This was the guy. No one knew me. No one knew which school I went to. No one knew any order of mine. So everyone was thinking, this 25-year-old. Senior position. Where did he come from? So the assumption was they have planted a spy. They have brought someone who's going to finish us. So fast forward, I finished my induction, and immediately I got promoted to procurement manager. I'd been very impressive at what I used to do. I had a Muzungu boss at the time. And I was managing a team of about 6-7 people. Now the funny thing is, I was actually younger than all these people. One of them had a son who was almost my age. So this was an interesting environment for me to work in. And it taught me a lot. Respecting people, how you treat people, how they treat you back. And I know a lot of people struggle with being a boss, someone older than you. But at the end of the day, if you treat someone right, they'll give you the respect you deserve. People look beyond your age. And many people have told me that, you know what, it's like you grew ahead of your time. You're doing many things, you get into all these spaces. And I don't know. Some things I think, sometimes I used to tell myself, maybe God gave me some blessings to compensate for the tragedies I suffered as a child. I don't know, but well, here we are.
They shaped you into who you are, who you became.
Very much so, very much so. So I did 4 years in Omeme, and at the time I was already doing so many small side hustles. I was already buying and flipping land. I was importing things for people from UK, because now we are the guys of we're the OBs. We're the OBs of UK. You know, nowadays kids think it's easy to go to UK. Those days it was not. We come back to meet you and the whole university knows this guy came
that you are born from UK.
Yes. It was good. Anyway,
Yes.
so I was doing a few side hustles here and there, and to me, a job has always been a job. I go to office, not to just type on my computer and move this file from here to there. No, for me, I would go to work, solve a problem, but in the process, what have I learned? What opportunities are out there? If I have solved a problem for my company, are there other companies out there with probably the same problem? How can I tap into it? And that mindset is what propelled me to do some of the businesses that I started a few years down the road. So I do 4 years down the road. Yes, yes, Robert.
No,
I do 4 years.
So yeah.
I do 4 years, and then Talo comes calling. Oh, okay. I was already paid a very good salary. I was comfortable, and then Talo comes along and gives me, I think it was almost 500 or 600% pay offer. And oh my God, who didn't want to work for an oil company?
Exactly.
It was like the darling in town. At that time, they're talking, it's 10 years, 12, whatever years ago. We're talking fast oil is coming, and everyone wants to be part of this gig. And the pay was good and whatever. So I moved, of course, I was a good liver. I tell my bosses I need a change. I'm still growing my career and blah, blah, blah. I got Talo Oil. So my first year in Talo Oil started my proper business journey. Because I realized in that year, I kept getting so many inquiries from power contractors, from people who are building power lines in Rwanda and Congo, asking me, Hillary, can you give us a contact for item X? Oh, Hillary, where can you buy this? Hillary, where do you get? So what I told you earlier, that I would go to work, not just for the sake of working, but to also learn. And in those 4 years, I had gained an understanding of the power industry. To an extent, I was more like an electrical engineer. I would tell you, what you're requisitioning for item X, but how come you've not requisitioned for this? How will this work without this? Hey, sorry, you add it. So now, in my first year at Talo, because of these inquiries, I say, you know what, I can actually now do this as a full-time business. It's an opportunity. People keep asking me for this. So now, instead, people would ask me and I would tell them, oh, go to company X in India. Oh, go to company Y in France. So I started telling them, give me your requirements and I give you a quotation. So now, to go to those companies, because I'd now built rapport with them, and I ask them, I'm sourcing for item X and Y, give me the drawings, give me the quotation, I'll compute the logistics, the forwarding bit and taxes, add my markup, and I give back these guys a quotation. So I think in my second year at Talo, I was making more money in a month supplying power materials than I was making at Talo
as a Talo employee
in an entire year.
Wow.
In an entire year, yes. And that all came from gaining an understanding, seeing where can I leverage. And like I say, most people go to work and you're just working, submit a report to go away. What is that? You can't live your life like that. Whatever department you're in, whether in IT, if you've been hacked and you've managed to solve that solution, just know that's an opportunity. You could be providing that service to another company somewhere. And you can do it alongside your job. No, no. Yes, Tony. I think
I wanted to detour. I wanted to detour a bit. So you said that at 25 you already had your job, and at some stage you had a house and you're already married. Can you just tell us a bit, because it fits in there? So you said it was important for you to get married.
Yeah. So at 25, I did my Kwanjula. Now I'll tell you a funny story. I held a meeting, a Kwanjula meeting at Centenary Park, and invited my friends. Told them, guys, I'm doing Kwanjula in 4 or 5 months. Now the funny bit is we actually drank more money than we collected in the pledges.
That night at the meeting.
Yes, because most of my friends were not working. Some of them had started working in banks and were on 600,000, 400,000. So it's a good friend of mine, I think, gave me over 300,000. It was like the only major pledge. And he told me years later, that was like my rent for 2 months almost. So it's I do my Kwanjula at 25. I did my wedding at 26. I didn't bother holding meetings for my wedding.
Why?
I think by the time we told people, we had already paid all the service providers. I had a very small wedding. My wedding was 110 people.
Wow. And you were an orphan. You are an orphan. You didn't have
Yes, and that's a good thing. Yes, I was an orphan. My wife comes from a big family. But we had decided, say, you know what, you have 50 people, I have 50 people, and maybe 10 extras. But it was a very small, intimate wedding. We could afford it.
Right.
We paid everything. Everyone had a good time. And let me tell you what, I got a lot of pledges and support towards the wedding. And on my wedding, I remember because we were traveling the following day for honeymoon, Pablo was our MC. We gave him the remaining part of cake. And the entire amount we collected in the pledges in the last, I think, 3 weeks, it was about 6 million shillings. And we donated it to Burashes. I don't know if people know Burashes, but Burashes is like the Sanyu baby's home. Because I was like, you know what, God has already blessed me. I have a number of things going well. I'm making a bit of money. I'm going to share my happiness, my wedding happiness, with kids who are probably in the same situation as where I have come from.
And you said something. You said something which I found very, very profound. That you needed someone to ground you. Could you just talk a bit more? Why was that such an important element? Yeah.
Okay. Now I remember when I moved back and started staying with my ex-girlfriend, who is now my wife, and we are renting. We are renting in a small place in Perere, and she used to tell me, but Hillary, if you died tomorrow, the landlord will not allow you to put fire in that compound. You're going to burn his grass. And this is, you brush it off and what, but in your heart, this is actually real. I need to start planning for a home. But if I didn't have someone probably push me, and sometimes in a bad way, in an annoying way, as a young guy, I would just go to Bokoto Flats or Bugos Flats and buy an X5 or something. And, be
Subaru
Ondava, put number plate, not to say something like that.
Bamulinde.
So this person was pushing me to do things. Was they keep also poking you. You're getting excited and saying, no, you where you grew up, you need to check on your people, you need to support them. You need to remember compassion and also be compassionate to someone else, and that kind of thing. And I've also always been a person who liked being looked after. So I needed someone around me to help me. Otherwise, I'll just end up wasting away. So it was that decision was very helpful.
So now you're making this money. You've got a partner to ground you. And I am going back to my original question. The sachets of alcohol and how it almost took you down.
Yes. Now, you know, in Uganda, we do so many things because we assume that there's money in this business. So I have a good friend of mine. We had also worked in Bolaya together. He's back, and he's a very enterprising guy. He comes up with this idea of sachet wallet. So I said, okay, no, let us do research. How much does it take to manufacture the Kavera? Whatever it's 350. How much do they sell it at? 1,000. Immediately, cling, we have a business. We're going to make money.
Yeah.
So okay, immediately we do some design. We go to China. We buy a machine that could do packaging, and we buy packaging. And this guy, quite an innovative guy, he had done his work. He had studied how do you blend it, how do we mix it. So we import all these machines, water filtration plants, and set it up. Based on numbers that we had calculated over our heads, or what this thing does, and how it is going to make money, and how people, and you know, say, people drink every day. So how we die of money. We make this alcohol, very fantastic product. We had a product called $1 Million Vodka, and forgotten the other one. But we had something new, something unique. For the first time, the sachet wallet was being packed in a pouch. So you could bite it, suck a bit, and make it stand on the table. And you know, people this is something. Oh, this is going to be whatever. I know people test it and so, it's really good. But they don't buy after that. So we're making good product. People are giving it all these reviews, but we forgot the other components of a business.
Which
we couldn't distribute the product. So we give a guy a pickup full of product. He goes to Masindi with 6 million worth of product. He comes back after a week with 3 million shillings in cash. He has the leftover product of 400,000. And then the stories start. You know, police onoteyansa sudde kanokaya box kanokade kabise. My God. And he said, no, but people are still saying, it's raving, it's a good product. You know that hype. People can encourage you. But we lost money. I had an apartment at the time, Sunset. And those were the first proper estates, and I had 2 apartments there. I sold them. Yes. I sold them, invested this money in the alcohol. Because remember, we used to import ethanol, add water and the flavor, and blend them.
I like the way you've put it. You sold 2 apartments and put the money in alcohol.
Yes, because the numbers were exciting. The numbers on paper were very exciting. And those days, leading Walaj were just starting, and we're seeing them with announcements all over, and we're going to be like these guys. We're competing with these guys. Now, of course, we didn't know the dynamics of this business. Some of these guys were importing ethanol from India, highly subsidized and on credit. For us, on the other hand, we're selling assets to fund this business. I remember the time. At the time, I was driving a Land Cruiser VX. I sold that VX and bought what's the name? It was like a Corona, a Brevis. I bought a Brevis. Do you know?
You're now downsizing.
Do you know to come from a VX to a Brevis? It was like a big slap in my face. And this time, okay, of course, I'm in Talo. I have a full-time job, so the full-time job, of course, keeps me going. But in the meantime, I'm liquidating things. I remember at some point, my wife asked me, Hillary, what is the title of this house? Because she was so worried. I was selling so many things to invest in this business that she thought I'd probably even mortgaged the home already.
Yes.
And, I remember one day I woke up and I called my business partner and said, guys, stop working today. And that is a major lesson was a major lesson for me and probably for other people, that don't invest in something that appears to be making money.
Don't assume. You see there are people, you see the product all over the place. We've seen here maybe telco, some the small telcos that come here and they are hyped and they have branded cars, and 8 months down the road it has folded. So you go into it because it has a bit of hype, and you end up losing money. So that was the story of our alcohol or whatever. But we learned a lot. So we grew from because my guy is quite innovative. He's come up with out of product. When the alcohol failed, we had already started making a product called Gweke. It's a maize snack. Some people might have seen it on market.
Mberenge, but anyway.
Mberenge, like mberenge, yes. But softer, it's softer and crunchy and easier to eat. And we're starting to pack and senene. Some people have seen the senene in like a Pringle tin. Nowadays we make choco butter as well, and we sell a bit of bulk chocolate to confectionaries. So that was the story of that cottage industry. It was a big fail. We learned our lessons. We understood that some of the things, distribution is very key for fast-moving goods. Probably you can't do it yourself, but if you do a good product, like we're trying to do with the new products, then you can find distributors. And
so you promised to tell, because you said you sold your flats, and you promised to talk to us today, at this time, about real estate and as an investment and so on. And so do you want to take us through those experiences and the lessons that you picked with respect to real estate investment? Yeah.
Okay, true. One, like I told you earlier on, I started my first journey in real estate was just after campus, buying small pieces of land here and there. I kept some of them for quite some time. And later on, with some of these businesses, it was the real estate I was flipping something here and I put here. And I've always had this belief: land buys land. So every time I sell land, as part of the profit, I'll buy another piece of land somewhere. Right? I might sell it for 100 million. I'll go and buy something for 10 million somewhere, and even forget about it or whatever. But I'll replace it. I'll probably use some of the profit for another venture, but I'll replace it with something else. Now, my journey starts with buying a few plots here and there, sell them, buy, flip. That's how I even got into the farming thing. So, how do you get into this business? One, real estate is a journey. It's not something. It's not a sprint. You don't wake up and buy land, and it's a small thing. You're talking to brokers, you're visiting these different types of land, and you're of course you're looking after them. You're giving him like a 20K for his airtime, and tomorrow if another deal comes up, who is he going to call? He's going to call you because you're nice to him. You're building rapport. He will tell you where the next thing is happening. I remember when I first moved to Chanja, people would ask us, where do you live? And we would tell them, us. Because the moment you say the Chanja, they will ask you, where is that? Now, I think Chanja is sort of self-explanatory. So that is how my philosophy on investing in real estate has always been to look at where is the action likely to happen next. So I've, for instance, I've bought quite a number of pieces of land in a place called Chwenda. When I bought Chwenda 10 years ago, an acre was 4 million. I know you're dealing with, I don't want to call them peasants, but people with not a lot of expectations like Kampala chaps. So a plot is a million, 4 million, you deposit 1 million.
And you keep coming back.
Then you keep coming up 300, 500. Now, the land that I bought at 4 or 5 million is now going for 100 million in a space of 10 years. But you see, it has appreciated. It has appreciated because I didn't just buy land for. You need to put in a bit of logic. You need to study the trends. Where is the market headed to? What is the next? Where is it happening next?
What is going to happen there? Where is this road likely to connect?
Okay.
That kind of thing. So I started my real estate journey. I go into developing as well. We have a sizable portfolio of moderate high-end apartments. I don't know if it's charging $800 or $1,000. I don't know if you call that high-end.
That's high-end, man.
So yeah, a bit of that. So we have we've gone into developing, and our next phase. Our next phase is going to be build to sell, because we have put a product in the market that we are proud of, that you can come and see that tomorrow if I put out a project and say, no, see what we have done, you can go look at it and you'll be confident that I can deliver you a good product.
So Hillary, right now as we speak, there is over 1,700 people listening to us, which just shows you the sheer amount of interest. Yeah. So I will let Otoa ask a question or two, and then after that I will open it up to the public, because guys have so many questions for you, not just about real estate, but about life. I think you've been passing on lessons. You've earned yourself a reputation as a straight talker who is honest and authentic. So people want to ask questions. So, Otoa.
Hillary, my brother, man. Those UK stories must bring back several memories, man. I remember that hustle, spending the whole outside British High
Both of you are
Commission.
barmen in the UK.
Boss, I was also a grills master at TGI Fridays, working on that grill for 5 years. So when you see me roasting, don't judge. Just know that I am just coming on with my passion. But I mean, Hillary,
ask your question.
you really epitomize what they call a hustle. And many young people actually look up to you. Now, many of them, of course, are focusing on education and then, of course, getting a job and living the life. But you talk about different revenue streams. Question one, how have you mastered the idea of different revenue streams as a way of creating wealth? Because over time, we do realize that the more revenue streams you have, the more wealth you're accumulating, and more avenues for, engaging in terms of creating business or having an impact in the business world. But then also, two, is also the critical question of accessing capital for investment. I know you've talked about the land, which is quite interesting, but for other businesses beyond just selling your assets. Supposing you're a young guy, for many of the young guys on here who have no assets, what are the easy ways of accessing capital? Then finally, saving culture. What's the best way or best advice you can give an 18 or 25-year-old on how to save for their future? That's all.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Tony. The first one. So the first one was about. Quick reminder. The first question.
Right. The first one was really about. The first one was really about the different revenue streams. How do you
diversifying your portfolio?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. How do you manage the different revenue streams? Okay. By the way, at this point. Of doing some of these things. I didn't even tell you, but I operated in Chikubo as well. I had a shop in Chikubo, lost 200 million. Went there because everyone was saying the money is in the Chikubo. That was one of those other big failures. Yes. So the different revenue streams. I've tried many things, and I'll tell you the last one is going to be the bombshell. You will fear. But anyway, the different revenue streams, alongside probably having a hustle, an official job. How do you do this? How do you go about it? Okay, one.
But then also two is also the critical question of accessing capital for investment. I know you've talked about the land, which is quite interesting, but for other businesses beyond just selling your assets. Supposing you're a young guy, for many of the young guys on here who have no assets, what are the easy ways of accessing capital? Then finally, saving culture. What's the best way or best advice you can give an 18 or 25-year-old on how to save for their future. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Tony. The first one. So the first one was about. Quick reminder. The first question.
Right. The first one was really about. The first one was really about the different revenue streams. You know, how do you
diversifying your portfolio?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. How do you manage the different revenue streams? Okay. By the way, at this point of doing some of these things, I didn't even tell you, but I operated the Chukubo as well. I had a shop in Chukubo, lost 200 million. Went there because everyone was saying the money is in the Chukubo. That was one of those other big failures. Yes. So the different revenue streams. I have tried many things, and I'll tell you the last one is going to be the bombshell. You will fear. But anyway, the different revenue streams, alongside probably having a hustle, an official job. How do you do this? How do you go about it? Okay, one, and I think I didn't bring this out earlier on, is that most of the things I have done, apart from probably real estate and a few supply transactions, I have actually done them with partners. Partnerships are key. Partnerships are key for you to be able to go into other ventures, because you can't be in two places at the same time. Like they say, to become rich, you need to have so many hands out there collecting money for you. Unless you're a coder, that you're going to write a code and get paid millions. Everyone else, you see Mukwano, he's here in one place, he has the traders in the Kamuli selling his product, a guy in the Kasese, everyone is collecting money for him. Those are the many hands I'm talking about. So to do these various revenue streams, you need to find people that you can work with. And you also have to ask yourself, what does everyone bring on the table? Either you bring financing, you bring the idea, you bring the market. And then you work together. You can have a full-time job, but weekends you chip in, or in the evening you chip in, or even during the day. People, I don't know, some people want to pretend that you go to work and you're busy from 8 to 6 p.m. That is nonsense. That means you're not good at your job. What sort of work are you? You have an hour or two in there. You can send an email. About
which you
hustle.
can. Yes, I know about that.
Yes. So the issue of capital, yes, it's a major blocker for most people. How do you raise capital? First, I usually tell most people, look on the inside. Family support system, your friends. When you have an idea and you pitch it to your friends, if it's a bankable idea, very big possibility your friends are going to lend you money. By the way, I'm talking about all these things. I have a lot of borrowing. I have borrowed money from banks. I have friends who have trusted me with their money, and I'm investing it on their behalf. And but you see, that to be able to raise money over 10 years, 12 years from friends, boils down to one major factor: trust.
Yeah, good.
If people don't trust you, people are not going to invest with you. And you see, money is something. I don't know. I don't understand it. There's no people get money. It's not your money, but the excitement.
Can I just say something to you, Hillary?
Yes, Robert.
People ask me, how did you manage to get Hillary to talk to you immediately? And I just said, I think he trusted me. That's all.
I think so. Yeah.
Trust is a game changer. Trust is a game changer.
Very. Yeah. And once people lose trust in you, once one partner loses trust in you because of maybe disagreements over sharing and whatever, you're not losing just one partner. You're losing 10. Because that person is going to talk. That person is going to tell the next person. I have people now who come and say, you know what, this friend of yours is trying to borrow money. Is it okay? And trust me, if you cheated me, I'm going to tell them, oh, slow down. No, don't lend that guy money. Okay, lend them at your own risk. That kind of thing. So trust is very important. If you have a good attitude and you've created and you're looked at as someone who can be trusted, people will invest their money with you. Because they know when you lose it, whatever the reasons are, the reasons are. Their wedding or whatever, then they come up with funny stories. Then you see a guy a few years down the road is telling you, I have a problem like now see this one. We did a deal, I invested my money, he disappeared and got married. That kind of thing. So trust, good attitude, and look at the inner, your immediate circles, which is your friends and family. Of course, if you have brilliant ideas, now we're talking coders and whatever, you can start pitching your ideas to PE funds, venture capitalists, and that kind of thing.
So Hillary, I need to start to bring in other people, otherwise I'll be lynched on these streets. There is somebody called Hillary Bamulinde. He's your namesake. Hillary, what do you want to say to Hillary? Bamulinde, can you speak?
Yes, thanks. This is Hillary Bamulinde. Hillary Bamulinde, your journey is so inspiring. I had two questions. One is, how do you handle two jobs at the same time? But I think you answered that.
The next.
Yeah, my other question is, most employers usually, in their contractual terms with you, make sure that you are not doing any other job apart from the one that you're doing with them. How do you go around that? Especially with big companies like Talo.
Hillary, now Bamulinde, not Bamulinde, please. Oh, what did I do? I may have disconnected the other Hillary. Let me just find him again. I think I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, but I've sent him an invite. So Hillary, I know you're listening, so just get back on. I've sent him an invite. I know you're listening, Hillary, so let's get Annette Naziwa. What do you want to ask Hillary Bamulinde? Hillary, sorry I did that to you. I was trying to sort things out. So welcome back. Can you answer the questions that your namesake asked?
Okay. Yeah. So companies will make you sign, especially the big corporations, contracts. But these contracts, I don't know. I think maybe we get contracts, and of course we have not read them, and we assume what the contract is telling you. Most of these contracts are actually telling you you're not supposed to do something in conflict with what the company is doing. So if I'm working with Talo Oil, I should not go into oil mining. But there's no rule that says I should not start my snack factory in Gayaza.
Good point.
That is there. That is stupid, and it can be ignored, and it will never be held against you. The only thing, you shouldn't be doing things that are in conflict. For instance, yes, I'm a supply chain specialist. I know how to source and whatever. I can't supply Talo Oil things, but I can supply a contractor in UNRWA something.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so I think sometimes we get into organizations and we assume the contract and we put these burdens on ourselves, or sometimes people say things. He's the manager, he says something, you shouldn't be doing, but it's not even contractual, or it's not even legal.
He's just jealous of you.
Probably.
Yeah, I've got someone else who I want to bring in, Grace Taharana. Grace, what do you have to say?
Good evening. Thank you, Hillary and Robert. My question is, can you hear me?
Very well. Grace, are you there? We seem to have lost you. Grace, can you check your microphone? Okay, we've lost Grace. Andrew Ongura, do you want to say something? Andrew Ongura.
Thank you so much, Robert, Comrade Otowa, and Mr. Hillary, for giving us this opportunity and this wise idea. You talked about something related to family support systems and building friend support systems. How do we get to actually lure friends to embrace the aspect of crowdfunding? Thank you.
Okay, Hillary, shoot.
Yeah, I think it's the simple simple answer is one. It starts from the idea. You have to sell your idea. I think I put out a tweet sometime this week and I said the most important skill for an entrepreneur, single most important skill, is the ability to sell. And I think some people assume that sell goods and no, it's everything. It's how you sell yourself, it's how you sell your idea, how you pitch it, and how you get people to buy into it. Because you see, you have an idea, you pitch it, and your immediate family don't buy into it, but your immediate family are putting money in someone else's idea. You've not sold it. And there's money around. There's money around. It is until people die that you see money. People bring mabugoro. People have been crying with no food. Until people want weddings, the money comes.
Yes.
The money comes. But you have an idea, the money disappears because the idea is not appealing to people. So I say, you have to invest in selling this idea. And how you build probably your sales pitch might involve confiding in a few of your friends, pitching it to them and asking them what they think, and then you build on that. The problem with most Ugandans, someone has an idea and thinks, I should not tell anyone. They might steal my idea. For God's sake, it's just an idea. An idea is nothing. It's just that.
Exactly.
It's just an idea. It means nothing.
And anyway, as soon as you implement it, it stops to be a secret, and anyone else can do it.
And then everyone. So why have you been hiding it?
Today I just did an idea dump on my thing, and some people were saying, "Oh, Otowa is posting all that so that he can steal people's ideas and whatever." I just thought an idea is an idea. No one can steal your idea, however brilliant they might be. Your idea is your idea.
Someone told me that one of the places that has the biggest concentration of ideas is the cemetery, but we'll talk about that at a different time. I've got someone who calls themselves Pisces Finest, Pfizer Fabs. What do you want to say to Hillary?
Hi, Hillary. It's actually Pfizer. I think I follow you a lot. I picked so many businesses. I think I follow you a lot and I picked so much knowledge from you. But my question really is about consistency. The mentors that I have always taught me that you need to be consistent in the sense that whatever you pick in terms of career, whatever you pick in terms of the job you want, it should be consistent. Like people should see that you're in one line. So that if you're going to maybe diversify, try to do something else, like a side gig, a side hustle, it shouldn't really stretch so far away. But yet you've tried out so many things. I mean, so many things. Did you encounter this challenge at one point where people are like, you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none? I mean, how did you do it?
Okay. Hi, Pfizer. Thank you. You see, I think this is the only advantage of being an orphan. I had no accountability to anyone. I had no one to impress. I would just do my thing. There had no one to tell me, how you even missed some lessons being on the chair. No. So that was an advantage. I know it doesn't.
In journalism, we call it freelancing.
Probably, yes. I know it doesn't help Pfizer. But, personally, I believe, people will say things. People will judge your successes. People will judge your failures. So I would say, Pfizer, if you want to do something, if you think there's this thing you want to try, I think it's more painful never knowing how it would have turned out. So if I were in your shoes, I would go ahead and try it. Much as people think, I've graduated, I should be a lawyer. Who says I can't be a DJ and be a lawyer? Who says I can't be a football referee and be a doctor? That kind of thing. Say, you can't be a doctor and be seen. So for me, I've never had that issue because really I've always done what Hillary wants to do. Or probably what my wife forces me to do sometimes. Yeah, I would say don't. I wouldn't advise anyone to be fixated on something because maybe it's an expectation from one side of the family. I would say adventure, especially if you're in your 20s. For God's sake, okay, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. You learn the lesson, you move on. People, one thing I've seen among Ugandans, people in their 20s try so much to impress family. They want to be seen to be conforming to this and that, and they stay in line. Then they hit their 30s, late 30s, 40s, and they become a nuisance because that's when they're getting their first freedom. They want, you're spending a night in a bar. No, I can't. I did all the things when I was 20. Why should I live a bar at 4 a.m.? What am I doing? Much as I own a bar. So, I hope it answers, Pfizer.
Okay, let me bring in somebody called Akatukunda Sheila. Do you want to speak? Blessed something. Bless us with your voice.
Good evening. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Hillary. I follow you a lot on Twitter, and I've been blessed to be part of this Twitter space. I want to say something about capital. As a young person, I have had a share of my failed businesses. I'm not so old, so in 2018, I zeroed down to one business, which is kitchenware. That's Sheila's Kitchenette. I did not have any capital. The only capital I had was my phone and some money for data. I used to go to Chikubo, take pictures with my phone, and then post. We are blessed with social media. We are blessed with Facebook, Instagram, and all that. Whenever I got a client, I would go buy and then have it delivered. So, but I have grown. I now keep some stock at home. I get some capital out there and buy some stock. So really, I don't think capital should be that one thing that should stop any youth today from transacting a business or conducting a business. All you need is to focus. Like he talked about trust. If someone gives you their things, today I get things on credit. The first thing I do when I make a sale, I pay them and then keep the balance, which I use to get stock from elsewhere. So at this point, in this age and era, I don't think capital should really be anything that should hinder someone from doing anything they want. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Sheila. Robert, let me just say something about what Sheila has just shared, because this was taken from the bottom of my heart. This is something I was supposed to, I think, tweet last week, and I wanted to tell people that, you know what, you can start a business with the value of just your phone. And I knew people would make noise, what do you mean? But guys, there are so many businesses. When you see Amazon, probably one could easily be the most valuable business at the moment, or they are second, third. Amazon does not manufacture anything.
No.
Amazon is a broker. eBay is
Thank you very much.
Sorry, let me just finish it. Airbnb does not own any property.
Any real estate.
Guys, and like I said, trust. If I have my phone now, I can go and speak to someone who is in welding, and I'm looking at their gates, and I'll go online, and I get more ideas, and I start going around on social media, pitching myself as a welder or provider of welded products. And people will come to me, and I'll go to this guy, and he makes them. The only challenge is people start that kind of thing, they get a bit of payment, and boom, disappear. Somehow you feel you've arrived. So
they go and buy.
Trust, and that resilience that Sheila has talked about, you can sell things that you don't actually own, and you'll make some money off it. Thank you.
Right. I want to ask someone called the official law. The official law, whoever you are, please speak. Eben Charles, can you speak?
Yes, sir. Mr. Robert Kabushenga.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. My name is Charles, and I'm really privileged to be in this space. Yeah,
what do
I'm
you want
a
to
hawker.
tell Hillary?
A hawker, and I've been inspired. I'm a hawker.
Okay.
Hawker, but literally, your story has really inspired us with the youth. And what I've come to realize is, if you take the right steps, well knowing that you're not about what people will say, you're not about what people will judge, but you're about making the difference in your life, you need to get there. I'm really privileged, and I thank you, Mr. Hillary, for inspiring us. But my question is, like me, I'm now planning to go and bank chair, then come back with enough capital to start up a hardware. But there is this thing of sharing our ideas to our elders and the people around us. And now people are like, you can stay here, you make your money, and your capital grows. But deep inside me, I feel that let's I need 50 million. And maybe I can take 4 years outside, I come back with the money, I go into a business which I have idea about.
Okay,
so how do you advise me? Should I go?
Okay.
Yeah, do you advise us to get capital outside or here?
Okay,
that's my question.
I would say follow your heart. Yeah, follow your heart. If you feel you can go out there and raise capital and come back and work here, pursue it. If you think you can work here and raise capital and do other things, pursue it. There's no silver bullet. The challenge is we want to do things that people are telling us to do. In the end, you're miserable. You realize in your 40s and you've not done anything because you're always listening to what people are going to tell you. But also, I say put in consideration your personal family and. Well, like I said, I had the advantage of being an orphan, so I did whatever I wanted. It may not apply in your case, but I would say, follow your heart.
Yeah, there is somebody called the official law. Are you on now? Okay, I don't think he or she or whoever it is there. So I will ask Ivas Tutu. Ivas, what do you want to say? Okay, I think guys have eaten their microphones, so I don't think anyone is talking. So Hillary, I have another question for you, but before I pose the question, I want to let guys know that we do guests from Monday to Thursday, and then Friday is when I come back and I do my mentoring session. So tomorrow will be my turn, and I'll be speaking at 7 o'clock, and I will be talking about how you acquire the skill to make the decisions. How do you acquire decision-making skills? That will be on tomorrow at 7. So during the day, you can tweet me all your questions and things, but how do you become a good decision maker? How do you learn the skill of making decisions? I will talk about that in the evening. It will be on Twitter Spaces. We'll do a Zoom, and we'll also do YouTube session. So that's my special for you tomorrow. Hillary, the question that, listening to your story, the thing that really hits me is the way you have learned how to take risks. Talk to us about risk.
Yes, Robert. Well, risk. I don't know how to. I wanted to get the simplest term to define it, but it's basically the measure of what could go right and what could go wrung. And when I was younger, I did many things probably without even thinking. You just invest money here, something here. As I grow older, my risk assessment has become stronger. I no longer just do things. If you come to me with an idea and you want me to invest with you, and probably I need to put in 100 million and you bring 10 million, I'll make sure that when the business doesn't work, the pain of my 100 is going to be equal to the same pain you'll feel losing your 10. So my risk assessment has grown. And some gauging risk and managing risk sometimes comes from experiences. That you have done many things that have failed. Every time you fail, you pick a lesson and it teaches. And like they say, only fools don't learn from their failures.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
If you keep not learning, you sooner or later you'll become the example. Like, do you remember that guy?
You will become the lesson.
Yeah, so I say I've learned and improved my risk management based on past experiences and also based on what I see. Sometimes something doesn't have to happen to you for you to learn. If you've seen that the other guy did this, people have invested in circles and lost money. Why do you have to put yours first before you learn that the circle is a scam? People have put money in forex trading, but you want first to put yours for you to learn that the thing is a scam. That is being stupid. Yeah, so
now I know why you came first in Chivuli. But so Hillary, I've decided to let in 4 other people to ask. And I'm going to be very strict and I'm going to ask them to ask all their questions, then you can answer. And each one has a minute. So I'll start with Martha Marunga. Martha, what do you have to ask Hillary?
Hi, Hillary. Hi, Robert. Thank you for the interesting conversation. My question, though, is it may be slightly different, but it's something that most people I speak to
just ask the question.
At what point do you decide? Well, I mean, at what point do you decide, okay, if I quit my job now, whatever I get in terms of benefits is going to be my capital? Because everyone tells you, don't quit to start a business. Yet you're sure you've done your research and you can actually hustle at least the first year. At what point, what are the key factors for you to say, okay, this is it, I'm done, I'm going to quit, put all my money in this other business I want to start? That's it.
Okay. Robert, you bring the next person, or you want me to answer?
Hillary, please go ahead. You can answer that.
Okay. So at what point do you quit? Well, this is also a very personal question. I think you feel it in your gut. When you're ready to quit a job, you'll feel it in your gut. I quit. I got out of corporate workspace at 35. And most people said, no, he's joking. He can't quit. He's still too young. To be honest with you, even my wife didn't know. She found out after a month because she told me, what leave are you on? You no longer go to work. So, I left work because I knew if I tried to whatever, she would discourage me. But I had felt.
Tony, are you back?
Hey, Robert,
Tony,
is all good? Is it
sorry,
good? I can hear you well now.
No, it's my connect village. So that's how we live on this side of the world.
Okay, so let's get Hillary back. Let's get Hillary back, and I think we should have to add it by another 10 minutes.
Okay, let me just look. I invited him, so I don't know if he's. Let me just check again to see that he still has his. Guys, I'm really sorry about this. You'll have to find it in you to forgive me. So, Hillary, if you can hear us, please just accept the invite and let's sort of make up to people and finish properly. So, Hillary, just let me know when you're on. So, Tony, are you there?
100%, I'm here.
Okay, so let's get people's questions, and then when Hillary comes in, he can answer them. So let me just see those that want to ask questions. Okay, Esther, what do you want to ask Hillary? Esther, is your mic on? Microphones, when you ask to speak, please check your microphones that they're on. So who is this?
I'm Esther Kachiposta.
Okay, Esther, go ahead.
Yeah, so usually I get so many business ideas. May not even be business, but so many ideas. And most of the times I find myself overly ambitious. So I feel like it may not work out. So most of the time I end up backing out because I feel like the idea I have in my head is too big for me. Basing on my age or my status in whatever place I am. So I end up backing out. So I wanted to ask him how he dealt with that. Did he at any one moment feel like he was being overly ambitious or, something like that?
Okay, great. Fiona.
Hello, good evening. I hope you can hear me. I'm glad to be on this space. I would like Hillary to make a comment on the general idea that when one has a job, to begin a business, they must leave their job. Because quite often I usually meet people who tell me, why are you still practicing your law job? Why don't you abandon it and go into business full time? Yet for me, in my mind, I keep thinking I need to have 7 streams of income. And just because now I have a job and one side hustle, I should not quit one for the other. Yet I'm looking at how do I actually even expand into more spaces. And I think this is something most young people, even the older people, need to understand, that just because you have one stream doesn't mean that you should close out the other. Thank you.
Right. Woolridge. Woolridge Eligu. Fidel. Okay, you can speak. Gideon Chibuka.
Hello, people. My name is Gideon Chibuka. I'm very humbled for this opportunity, and I'm very glad for all the ideas that we've shared. So my question to Mr. Hillary is on, he talked about real estate business. So I wanted him to tell me, because I like the way he started it, that it was very simple. It was about buying land initially, but he concluded by saying that currently he's doing real estate developing. So my question is, because now real estate developing comes with a lot of capital.
So my
question is, what is his take on borrowing to finance real estate developing? To borrow and you construct and then you pay, and then you pay back. What is his take on that as a mode of financing the real estate developing? Because I think it requires more capital and it is long term.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, Tony, what we should do now, looking at the situation as it is, we can't get Hillary back. So, and we normally finish by 8:30. So, Tony, my thinking now is that let's end it here and thank everybody who came in on the show, and apologize, guys, that, I lost my internet connection. I don't know why. I should have been paying attention to my access rather closely. So I'm sorry that we lost Hillary.
Hillary is coming back on. Robert, he's coming on. I've just spoken with him. He's coming back on.
Oh, so should we wait a little bit?
Yep. Let's just extend it by about another 8 minutes.
Okay, so then let's see the questions that are there. Mary Luswata, do you want to ask? Okay. I think Mary doesn't have a mic. Let me see if I can get Maureen. Maureen again. Maureen. Maureen, can you speak? Mary, any of you speak?
Hi, this is Mary.
Tony, is it me?
This is Mary Sparta.
Mary. Okay, Mary, now you say what you've got to say.
My question is that there is this general excitement, as much as ugly as it may sound. We have had people say that people are now going to sell their land, they're going to sell their houses because of the situation in Uganda and how COVID has COVID is right now. And so we are looking forward, as, like I said, as ugly as this may sound, we're looking forward to, buying land and buying property, because we know that people are going to want to finance their lifestyles and take care of their families and take kids back to school when the time comes. And they might have to, go with the idea of Chinina Chechintasa. So is it the right time, given the economic situation in Uganda, if I'm buying land and wanting to sell in 5 years, is this the right time to buy land, or will I make a loss? Because again, we don't know when things will get back to normal, and we don't know when land will be lucrative again.
Okay, so Maureen, do you want to talk?
Yeah,
shoot.
Hillary said.
Okay. Now, Hillary, are you back?
Robert, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? That's the question.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. Somehow I just couldn't get back in.
So I think, no, I lost my connection, I think, and that affected my space. But now I'm back on, and hopefully I can last a couple more minutes. So there are a number of questions. I don't know if you were hearing, but
no,
somebody
I only had Martha's question.
Martha or Maureen? Oh, only Martha.
Martha, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
Let me tell you what the others are then.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear Maureen, so Otoa will say Maureen's. I had Mary. Mary wants to know whether this is a good time to buy real estate and wait because everyone is selling off because of COVID. She thinks the market is down. Buy now, gain value, sell later. Otoa, what did Maureen ask? I know.
Maureen's internet was a little shaky. To be honest with you, I couldn't hear anything. But a question was sent in from Taylor Dennis, who is asking Hillary, has his process of new businesses or business projects and refinement ended, or is he still at it? And then his second question also was, what's his handicap now? I think this is in relation to his golf that he keeps talking about. And he says this question was many that he could have had. So there you go.
Okay, Hillary, you answer those ones.
Okay. So Martha's question was, at what point do you quit your job? And my answer basically is, it's in your gut. You can feel it. But I would say prepare. Yeah. One is something that is going to happen, whether at 40 or at 60, it is going to happen. You're not going to die in that job. So you always have to prepare, knowing that at some point I will quit the job. What I usually tell people is put some savings together. You know your expenditures. Put maybe 6 months something. Have an idea that has reached is starting to cash in. Don't come out because you have an idea that you can do poetry, and that is the reason you're quitting a job. Unless of course the job has its own issues, and that's maybe your exercise and whatever. That's the reason you're leaving. But be prepared. But also know that it's going to be a very different space. You no longer have free medical insurance. You no longer even have freebies. The people who would call you and they're nice to you, they won't call you. because now you're no longer of any benefit.
Hillary,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
they don't call me anymore.
Exactly. I used to get gift hampers.
By
many. Now I don't
yes,
get.
by Hillary, by 6 p.m. my phone is at 63%.
I can imagine.
And I have only 500 messages on WhatsApp, so I know that feeling very well.
Exactly. So I say prepare, invest in your side hustle, and quit when you feel you're ready. But also, most people, I tell them, when you leave your, especially corporate workspace, to do the side hustle, acknowledge very quickly that your life has changed. You can't continue enjoying the things you used to enjoy. You need to downsize.
True.
You need to downsize and think until things normalize. Then you can come back. But if you come out and you're still going out and you're drinking Macallan with me, and before you know it, boss, you're still in your car. Yes. So
that question about land.
The question about land. When is it a good time to buy land? There's never been a better time to buy land. Today, yesterday was the best time to have bought land. Today is the next best time. Tomorrow might be late. I keep giving people an example. I have 10 to a 12-year-old, early teens. And I tell people, by the time these kids finish university, none of these kids, irrespective of the job they get, unless it's maybe it's a crypto coder or something and is earning millions, will be in position. But a normal guy, you've come out and you work for Vision Group or you work for Umeme or whatever, none of these kids will be in position to buy an acre of land within 50 kilometers of Kampala. None, not from salary. The only thing they will do is probably they will buy condos. So when is the best time? Much as you may think land is going down because of COVID and what, 4, 5 months, 6 months down the road, the oil and gas industry happened and boom, there's so much money in the economy and land shoots. And what you thought you would buy 40 million, they tell you 80. And you're like, how? Recently, a neighbor of mine called me and said, no, I'm selling 50 decimals off my land. I said, that could be interesting. So how much are you selling? Say 1 billion. I almost fell down. I said, when did Chanja get 1 billion for 50 decimals? And before you know it, I say, oh, they sold it 800. Even then, I say, my friend, I came to Chanja. I live on half an acre and I bought it 40 million. So everyone that tells me in millions, I think, those are thieves. But it's what it is. Land is always going to be right.
So,
yes, Robert.
I was going to say, you said that you were going to drop me a bombshell.
Yes.
Drop my bombshell.
Now, guys, this is a business idea that I've had for some time. I've shared with my friends. I've even shared it on some forums. And most people that I tell about it, like, hey, Hillary, we know we've always known you love money, but now you've gone to this election. Okay. My idea is I think this country, at some point, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10, maybe in 15, will have a requirement for private cemeteries. I've done some research. In Kenya, they bury in cemeteries. In Rwanda, they bury in cemeteries. I'm not sure about TZ. The whole of Europe buries in cemeteries. In Uganda, when you die, at Deomuchalo. But that land in the village is getting finished and quickly because every year people die and people subdivide. They remove the grave. Chanja Chisasi was full of graves. Now they are not there. They have moved them. People are now living in condos. You live in an apartment. You've taken out a mortgage. You have nowhere to be buried. So I know there's going to be an opportunity for private cemeteries sometime in the future. I did some numbers. I've done a bit of research. I've even commissioned the proper research. You can put 500 graves in an acre. Even if you charge 500,000 per grave, you're still getting 500 million. Maybe you bought an acre, 20 million in Kakiri or something. So that business is going, that's something that I know is going to happen. And people keep telling me, but we're always sharing your ideas. When people steal them, well, that is one of them. Someone can steal it. I don't mind.
I have about half an acre on my land that is stony. So I think that's an idea of what to use that there.
So I know it is something that will come in the future, and it will be a game changer.
Personally, I believe it's a service that people require. I'll be happy to be buried in a cemetery. I don't care where you bury me anyway. My work in the world will have ended. So I don't know, we still have those sentiments. And when funeral services started 12, 13, 15 years ago, everyone said, these guys are trying to make money from dead people. Shameful. Now everyone uses funeral services. So,
and by the way, right now, they can't meet demand.
Yep. Actually, it's probably one of the only few businesses where you guarantee the customers.
Food is another one.
And
food is another one.
And food,
yeah.
Sure.
So I've got somebody called Ochen. Ochen, what do you want to say?
Thank you, Robert and Hillary, for the giving. My name is Moses Ochen Andrew. My question to Hillary, hearing what he said in regards to, how do you balance between work, family, as well as business, especially for the young people like myself? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, balancing work, family, and business. I think like many things in life, you have purpose to do something. For a number of years, most of my friends have known me that Sunday is family time. And it's very rare. Someone actually had asked about my handicap. My handicap is the only thing that has refused to improve. They are struggling with it anyway. My golf handicap. But Sunday, and most of my friends play golf on Sunday. And it's very rare for me to play golf because I dedicated, I purposed and say, no, Sunday is family time. I have a family movie, minus the lockdown is when I take the kids out, maybe eat out and that kind of thing, because I have purpose. So some of the things, they will only become doable if you purpose to do them. But there's never going to be a situation that happens and say, oh, now have some family time. Oh, now attend to a business. No, like I said, if you're at work, there's no job that can engage you 99% from 8 to 6. If you're in that job, you're going to run mad. Any job, there's going to be a breather somewhere. So me, what I used to do is, I was very good at my job. I know a report is required by Friday. By Tuesday, it's done. It's in draft. So I have a few days I can do some little work, and I attend to also my person. So I say, in your day, create some, whether it's at your lunchtime or whatever, create some time for your side business. And I know people, slave away and put 120% in the company, and tomorrow you fall sick, and before you know, they're saying your job is not required anymore. That's when you realize, oh, I should have dedicated some time. This is common sense.
Hillary,
the side hustle probably outlast the main job. So give it attention as well. And of course, make time for family. Nothing like family. Family first.
I have another sister of mine who, if I don't allow to speak, I will be lynched. And that is Jackie Oloya. She lives somewhere in Germany. Jackie.
Yes, please. And thank you so much, Robert. And thank you so much, Hillary.
For your name.
And then for your name. Now, Robert, before I ask Hillary a question, I want to tell you this, that your malice cannot work on the space by throwing me out amidst space session. That will not happen because my airtime does not run out. So don't do that again. That's a caution. And then now to Hillary. The previous speaker has already touched on what I wanted to ask you about time, your management. But nevertheless, I will still ask this question because you've mentioned quite some businesses that you're involved in. And my simple question is, on the management of these businesses, do you have a secretariat? How are you managing all these runarounds? I'm very much interested in, because I'm a hustler like you in another way. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
please answer. Yes. So, like I mentioned earlier on, a number of the businesses or hustles that I'm involved in are actually partnerships.
So they have people who are dedicated, who have dedicated time to full-time manage these businesses. However, I put in time, I get some of them weekly reports, monthly reports, quarterly reports, meetings here and there, and of course they call me. But like any business, you know, when you have an interest and you put in money, you have to maintain some level of control. Either on the finance side of things, you are doing some approval levels. Some things have to come to you, so you keep in touch with what exactly is happening. So yes, I use partnerships. I have things that I do directly, and I have people who work for me. But on top of that, I also use services of a tax consultant, because it's very important. You cannot do business anywhere and thrive on the basis of cheating taxes. No. It's impossible unless you're going to remain a 2 or 5 million shilling business. But if you're going to grow and do serious business, you need to manage your tax planning. So I have a tax consultant on a retainer. Even small things, I buy fuel or whatever, I hand in all my receipts, and then he will tell me at the end of the month which ones qualified to be filed under either director's benefits or business expenses and that kind of thing. And you see, this guy, they keep coming back and saying, we're seeing this, some things are not tallying. There's maybe more going out than coming in, what's going on? And that helps. And of course, once a year, my main businesses get audited as well. I look at the reports, the recommendations, and yeah, there we go.
So, Hillary, back to us now, because, you know, time is going and, you know, it's a late evening. If you were to meet Hillary, who was on campus going for training and coming back, knowing what you know now, what would you tell Hillary then? What would you tell him?
Okay, first of all, I would slap that guy because he was stupid. And after slapping him, I will teach him a few things that I probably know now. I think as a young guy, yes, we had opportunities, we had this exposure ahead of most of our peers. I didn't tell you a story of how we bought a car in second year, Toyota 11, and it would be packed most of the time because we couldn't afford fuel. And you're thinking, okay, why did we buy a car? Okay, wanted to impress the girls, the 11 would make noise and whatever. But you see, these are things that, of course, now I'm matured and think, okay, that was silly. I didn't need that. So, but at the same time, I would say the Hillary of 20 years ago, I would want to live that Hillary again. Jokes aside, because I went through a number of things that now are basically like a reference point. Say, I wasted money on that, but I learned it. I saw what happened. Okay. I hung with 30 friends for a month. The money got finished. You go back to your birthday for assistance, say, I don't have, when you can see a 20K note in his nylon shirt shining. This guy, I've been feeding him for a whole month. Now I'm broke. He's saying he doesn't have. So you learn how to start managing expectations. Don't think people will help you because you helped them.
Yes,
that
that's
kind
true.
Of thing. So I would live exactly the Hillary of those days, but with a bit of clever.
Okay.
That's how
okay. And you, how important to you are things like humility, gratitude, networking? I know that you know, how much is it? How much of people? You said you're an orphan, but the help you got from people, how important is that to you?
Well, I think things like gratitude and humility, for me, they come naturally. I don't think about it. I don't think about being humble. People see me posting, I think before today, most people didn't even know my life story. There's so many things I do and I never get to talk about. Yesterday I spent the whole morning distributing posho in my neighborhood, but I don't have to tell anyone because I'm not doing it so someone knows about it. I'm doing it because I feel I've been blessed, and it's upon me to bless someone else that is less fortunate. And my kids have a prayer, and I didn't teach it to them. I think they picked it from school, but somehow in most of their prayers they always have the thing of bless those who are less fortunate than us. They're starting to see that picking something off their parents, that you say, okay, yes, we are fortunate, but we recognize it, and we don't take it for granted.
And as such, we feel for those who are not in our position. So I think humility, for me, humility and a good attitude are natural. I know where I come from. I can't forget that. That's why I even talked about. I wouldn't have told you my personal story. It's very easy of something. Oh, that guy is doing okay, and you go around. Why should I tell them? Oh, they will now underlook me. They think, oh, that guy, he used to dig. That guy was a bean man. So for me, I have no shame in that because that is my story. And that is what has made me. So I think for everyone, it's good to be humble. Sometimes we don't want to be humble, and the world humbles you, and that's not good. Sometimes it's already too good. Now, networking.
Yes.
I think someone asked me a question recently. Why do you take your children to an expensive school? And my answer was one. I do not take them to an expensive school to get good grades.
Yes.
I take my children to an expensive school so they can network. Because you can realize where we are heading and the life we are living now, so many things rotate about networks.
Yes.
Your business gigs are coming through networking. I have opportunities now because, like Otoa will tell, we're chasing so many things, oil and gas, and it's happening. And some of the things are coming from the networks I built 8 years ago. The friendships you made then, that you made an impression on someone. Now they're coming back to do a contract and they're asking you, Hillary, can you find me accommodation for my expatriates? Can you hook me up with cars? Can you do this and this and this for me? They could have gone anywhere else.
But they came to
you. And we built that bond. Yes. And they're coming to you because of that network. So I say networking is going to change so many things about you. You know, there's so many brilliant minds that are in companies, and because he's too clever, he's the guy who does his coding, he sits in the back room, no one knows him. The guy sits there for 8 years and no one knows him because he's so good at it and he buries himself there. That is silly. Network, meet people, go join Rotary clubs, join circles. Have conversations because they don't know which idea you're going to pick. I only took up golf recently, and sometimes we're playing and people are having a conversation, and I pick up an idea. But I wouldn't do that without the networking, or if I keep in a silo. So, networking, guys, it's
right.
For me, it's big, probably bigger than your grades.
Hey, so Hillary, we're going through a trying time. It's difficult for very many people. It's tough. What would be your word of encouragement to the people listening?
Yes, guys, it is tough. It is tough, everyone. I don't want to lie to you. I also have challenges. Recently, I posted something on many Ugandans being asset rich and cash poor, and I personally got a full blunt slap of that statement. Because a few weeks ago, I was struggling with paying wages. And at some point, I was, I think, down to like 500,000. And I'm thinking, okay, I could have a few $1 million worth of assets. But, okay, if I get sick now, what happens? I don't have any money. And it was depressing. And then I say, no, let me keep it in my house. And so, guys, there's a lot happening. There's so many, everyone is struggling. It's very easy to assume that the other person is doing okay. Maybe not. So I say, it's a bad phase. We're going to go through it. Let's keep safe. Let's take the vaccine. Personally, I've got 2 jabs of vaccine. My family at some point got COVID, and I was the only one who did get COVID. I still think it's probably down to the fact that I've gotten the 2 jabs. So if you have a chance, take a jab. Take a jab. Ignore the conspiracy theories. I think use the science. But we'll get through this. Help a neighbor who is less able if you're in position. Reach out to someone if you're struggling, and we'll be back stronger. We'll get through this.
So I have a final favor to ask you, Hillary. You obviously have had many experiences and you look like somebody who is very willing to share them. Would you be willing to set aside a time, maybe once a week on your Twitter, to take questions and give advice to people?
Yes, I can do that. I can do that. I'm in semi-retirement, so I can make time.
Me, I am in full retirement, so it's fine. So, but we can.
I can imagine.
I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for only till the end of July because I think Yes. There's a lot of work at my farm, and there's something I'm doing that is going to need me to pay full attention. But if people like you, the reason I'm doing this is to provoke people like you to be available. There's Ugandans out there desperate to hear from people. If you can set aside a time and tell people at this time I'm ready and open on this platform, so we can talk offline and sort of discuss how you can structure that. But it's my last request to you. And then
no, Prime Robert, granted.
Then I want to say thank you to you for your generosity at all levels, not just talking to us, but sharing your story, being authentic, being genuine and not feeling embarrassed, and letting everybody know that out of those struggles comes a lot of success. So I thank you very much for being authentic, for being genuine, for being generous, and also for the people you help, and for your regular posts that you put out. So Hillary, as I said, you're now a cult figure on the Twitter streets. Very much, Hillary.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Hillary.
Nzani. Thank you, guys.
and thank you.
No, Hillary, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.
And Otoa, thanks very much and for keeping us going. And to all of you, over 1,800 of you who sat there and listened to us, the over 110,000 times you guys looked at that whole timeline where Hillary was talking. So it's 110,000 times that timeline was looked at. Thank you very much for making 40-Day Mentor something great. Let's keep the hashtag going. And as I said, tomorrow, it's now my turn to speak to you. And at 7, I'll be there. I told you I'll be on YouTube. I'll send out the Zoom link. And then I'll be on, Spaces as well. Join me and let's talk about how to make decisions. I will be talking to you about that because I got to make many decisions and I acquired that skill. So be there with me and let's help each other work through this time in a more meaningful way. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good night.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night.